All right, so let's do one more example of this. So we're going to do a conversion with yards and feet. So if you didn't know the conversion between them, which one's larger, which one's smaller, we can see that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So clearly, yards are larger than feet because I need 3 feet to equal 1 yard. So this is my smaller unit. So notice that my smaller unit has the larger number with it because a small unit needs a lot of them to equal the same distance that a large unit would take up with just a single one. All right, so when we go through and we try and solve this problem, so let's say that we're going to convert 8 yards into feet. So I want to do 8 yards, and I want to know how many feet that is. Okay, 8 yards equals how many feet? So when we're looking at it, we can set it up like we did as a function box. So we're changing between yards and feet. Now, we already should know what the rule is, okay? So when I take a look at this, draw out my function box, which really you're going to start to notice is kind of unnecessary. Okay, so 8 yards equals how many feet? I know 1 yard equals 3 feet. So I already know what my rule is. To get from 1 to 3, I'm multiplying by 3. Now, the more you'll do this, the more that we should start to realize that all of our rules are always multiplication rules when we're converting, okay? Because when we have 2 yards, we'll have 6 feet. 3 yards would be 9 feet. And we can do that out, and we've proven it and looked at it lots of other times. So we know our rule is always going to be a multiplication rule when we're converting with measurements. So I've got 8 times 3 to get over to this side makes 24 feet. Now, one of the reasons why we might want to think of it in terms of this conversion chart or function box or in and out table, however you like to refer to it, is that we often need to go in the other direction. So it doesn't always work out that we have this side and we're going over here. From time to time, you're going to get the opposite. I'm going to give you something like 33 feet. And I want you to know, all right, 33 feet is equal to how many yards? Now, the nice thing about our function boxes that we practice is that we know to go from this side to the other side, if the rule was times 3, we're doing the opposite to go backwards. So the opposite of multiplication would be division. So instead of multiplying 3 to go back 2 yards, I would be dividing it by 3. So I'm doing 33 divided by 3, okay? Now, luckily, I know some of my facts, and I know that 33 divided by 3 is actually 11. So 33 feet is equal to 11 yards. And we can go back and forth using that. That's the nice thing about why I always set this up, so that I know my comparison. You always want to know what your basic comparison is, what one of them is equal to another. Okay? Once you know that, that sets up your rule, and the conversions are much easier after that point. So we can look at just one more on this video. So we can do one that's more a measurement that you'd see when you were cooking or recipes or anything along those lines when we're looking at volumes of things. So I know that 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. So if I was looking for something and my recipe called for 7 pints, okay, so I need something that needs 7 pints, but I don't have a way to measure in pints, but I do have a way to measure in cups. This would be the point where I would need to do this. So looking at it, I've got 7 pints and I want to know how many cups that is. Well, I know my conversion. It's 1 to 2. 1 pint to 2 cups. Okay, so I already know what my rule is. I'm doing 1 to 2 of these. So my rule to get from pints to cups would be multiplied by 2. So it's a very simple step of 7 pints would then be equal to 7 times 2, or 14 cups. Okay. It's a very simple procedure as long as you take your time and think about it. Because oftentimes what they're going to do is they're going to give you it in forms like this, where it's 1 pint and 2 cups, and they're going to put it down like this. 8 cups is equal to how many pints? Okay, well now they've flipped it around, but it shouldn't matter. So when we write this out, we realize, all right, 2 cups equals 1 pint. So how do I get from this side to this side? Well, I'm dividing it by 2. So if 2 cups is equal to 1 pint, so to get from here to here, I'm dividing by 2. I'd do the same thing here. cups to pints, 8 divided by 2 would be 4 pints. Okay, so just writing it down in the same order that you're working on can be very helpful for you. So it's definitely a strategy I would highly recommend.